What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, I'm diving back into the Great League with a top-performing team from PvPpoke. You and I both know that I love to take a look at the fresh new teams that PvPpoke throws up there as top performers, and I love to give them the try because they're always incredibly strong. Now, today I'm running the Alolan Ninetails Lanturn and Lickitung team. My Lickitung is not done just yet. This is one of the XL Pokemon I have been working on, but there is an event coming up where you guys can catch Lickitung in the wild, so that is going to be fantastic for you all to go do. If you don't have it, I will be finishing off my Lickitung that way. I'll have a link down in the description if you guys want to go see that post from Niantic. It looks very cool, lots of great wild spawns. This team overall did pretty good. I had wins, losses. It was kind of like a 50-50 kind of go, 3 2s, 4 1s, 1 4s, kind of back and forth. But overall, I felt that it was strong. It felt like a team that I could grow, like get better with, if that kind of makes sense. Lickitung, obviously, there was some situations where if I was powered up a bit, I would survive some charge moves. But overall, really strong. I definitely recommend you guys go check out the top performing teams there on PvPpoke, as I'm going to be trying some more this week. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Ninetales on the lead versus Skeledirge. This is obviously a very tough lead. We do have 2 good answers in the back, so we're going to go ahead and go into the Lickitung. Now, Lickitung right here is more of like a defensive answer to some extent, because we can soak a lot of damage here from Skeledirge, and we don't necessarily have to give up a shield. So I'm going to go ahead and let that disarming voice go through, and we do see a swap out here into Dewgong. This is a really good situation for us, because this will allow us to do super effective damage with Power Whip. This is going to get us an advantage in some way, and it's going to be the shield that we get right there, as we will see the Dewgong look to throw the charge move. Probably going to be Icy Wind, so I'm just going to go ahead and no shield. Icy Wind's not going to be enough to KO, and I should be able to get to another Power Whip in time. So we're going to go ahead and ride the wave very closely right there on my health, and this Power Whip here is going to be doing a good chunk of super effective damage, getting Dewgong to 33, exactly 33.33, repeating of course. And now we have an opportunity here to come in with Alolan Ninetails and charm down. The whole goal with Alolan Ninetails now is to try to get enough energy for a Psyshock against Skeledirge, and then hope that the Lanturn can sweep. I'm going to go ahead and shield the Drill Run so I can keep the Ninetails a bit healthy, because I might need the health later on as we do decide to go for the Psyshock right here. This is going to do quite a bit of neutral damage, and I don't know if the Skeledirge is ready for it as they decide to no shield. And look at that, we got the Skeledirge down. They swap out into Dragonair, and what I want to emphasize to you guys is the opponent has enough energy for a charge move. The Skeledirge does for disarming voice, so keep that in the back of your head based on the decisions I'm going to make right here, because Dragonair is a matchup that we're not going to be able to win. What we're going to look to do is go for the Surf right here. This is going to do enough damage to knock out, so we do get the final shield. My opponent is trying their best to load up to double body slams right here, and unfortunately I don't get the charge attack priority on Surf, so I'm going to have to let the Aqua Tail go through, and now we come in with Alolan Ninetales. Remember, I said Skeledirge has a charge move, so I'm going to no shield, and it is going to be body slam. That was not enough to KO, but we are able to charm down in time, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Obviously, if the opponent shielded right there, or through the charge move, they go down anyways because I shield. Alright, moving to the next one. Shadow Feraligatr here on the lead. This is a very deadly Pokemon that I really don't want to soak damage on with Alolan Ninetales or have to give up a shield. So I'm going to look to swap into Lickitung here to catch the Hydro Cannon and then see what they decide to do. They're going to go ahead and load back up on energy and swap out into Hakamo'o. This is actually really good. Hakamo'o coming out onto the field is obviously going to free up the Lanturn a bit in the back, because they would otherwise be resisting all the moves, right? Spark, Surf, Thunderbolt, and what we can do right here is a lot of neutral damage with Lick and Body Slam. This is why Lickitung is deemed as the safest Pokemon in the Great League, because in almost all of the matchups you're going to be able to do some damage, and even if you don't, you're going to be able to soak a lot of damage. So we do go down right there. Ninetales is going to come back in, as we will be able to charm down. Feraligatr has energy, so I'm going to go ahead and not swap, because it is actually a Alolan Sandslash that came in instead of Feraligatr. So now I got to calculate, okay, I think my win con is still with Alolan Ninetails and Charm, and I'm going to try to utilize the Lanturn here to get the Alolan Sandslash low. Now I shielded, that was just an Ice Punch bait, so now I gotta go, I'm just going straight Surfs right here, right? If the opponent swaps into Feraligatr, well then I get a free fast move down, and what we're gonna try to do is our best to just keep sparking down. The more health I can get down with Spark, the better. Now I'm going to no-shield this one. It was a drill run, unfortunately, and I'm going to go ahead and go for Surf right here, making sure that they went for that Shadow Claw, as this is going to be getting the final shield. And now I'm in a very tough situation where I have a Sandslash with energy and a Feraligatr with energy. So what I'm going to do is call that Hydro Cannon is the hardest hitting move left in the game, so I'm going to let it go. And the opponent only threw an Ice Punch. This now opens the door for me as I can safely shield right here. Maybe the opponent should have just thrown Drill Run. I think that's the win-win condition. But now I have an opportunity to Charm down, and then I should be able to get to a Weather Ball here against the Sandslash, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. So definitely able to come back from that. It was a bit close, but overall good battle. All right. Moving into the next one, we have Ninetales on the lead versus Shadow Gligar. This is a pretty good matchup. Again, our whole team does well. They decide to swap out into Lickitung. So what we're going to do is we're just going to charm our way through a lot of health and then bank the Weather Ball and swap into the Mirror. And this is the situation where because I can't, well, obviously I can't come in with Lanturn right away because that's going to be a tough matchup because of Power Whip. And also, when I come into the Mirror here, I just really won't have as much health as the opponent will, because I still have quite a few power-ups away from being capped out. As you guys can see, my combat power is only 1461, and I can definitely power up multiple times. I think like 4 or 5 more times, which is actually going to be a good amount of health that I am missing. So even though I think I played this correctly in terms of chunking health on Lickitung and then swapping into my own for the Mirror, it's going to come back to bite me because I just unfortunately won't be able to survive long enough. Now, they do go for another Body Slam right away right here, so I'm falling a bit behind, and as you guys can see, that health remaining right there was not enough. And what's going to happen is the opponent is going to be able to safely no-shield and survive because I can't get to the next Body Slam in time. So that is unfortunate. I'm going to come in with Lanturn now and load up on energy. If Gligar comes in, we are ahead, right? We have Surf. So now I'm very curious to see what they have in the back. Is it something like a Lanturn? Is it something like a Bastiodon? Because obviously Gligar coming in, we're going to do the Wombo combo here. This is why I banked the energy on Ninetales, so I can have that charge move pressure ready to go. And we do force the first shield of this game, and sure enough, it was a Lanturn in the back. Now, Alolan Ninetales is in a great position right here to do so much charm damage that really the opponent is starting to fall behind. I will decide to shield the Surf, and I go for Psyshock here. I really want to force the final shield from my opponent. If they decide to let this go, I charm down. So now we're going to see that they actually decided to no shield. No, don't get the charm down in time. Now I have to hold my shield, and now we got to play the coin flip. I thought for sure I was going to get the charm down right there, but we don't. We now spark down Lanturn. We're in the Mirror against Shadow Gligar, and this is a situation where the opponent is likely going to be going for double dig. They have enough time in order to get that much energy, so I will throw the Surf here. I will shield this charge move because obviously if it's dig, it's gonna hurt, and it is. And now we gotta pray that we can get to the Surf in time, but we don't. They have the back-to-back. But ladies and gentlemen, the dig is not enough. We are able to survive and go for the Surf. So really riding a tight wave right here on health points, and we are able to, boom, knock out the Gligar. And that is going to be a good game, very well played. All right, moving to the next one, Ninetales versus Skeledirge. Once again, very tough lead. We're going to do the exact same thing. Come in with Lickitung right here, and we are just going to load up on energy as they decide to throw. This is going to be Disarming Voice, totally fine. You guys have seen this before. We get to about 50% HP, and they're likely going to bail out. And they bail out into Altaria, which is actually pretty good. This is a great situation where we can do a lot of neutral damage here with Body Slam and Lick. It's an opportunity for an Alolan Ninetales to charm down. down for energy like we did before. We just gotta see what Pokemon number 3 is and if Lanturn can do well against it as we go ahead and go for the second Body Slam. Altaria is starting to get low. I think they're really wanting to go for the full Dragon Breath down, but unfortunately they're not going to get there in time. If they don't shield this Body Slam, I will be able to lick down, so they will give up a shield, and this is actually a great situation for me because Alolan Ninetales, as so long as Lanturn isn't hard countered in the back as well, Alolan Ninetales is pretty safe to let a Sky Attack go through, so I will Charm down. Unfortunately, that Charm was not enough damage right there as they did go for a Fast Attack first. Sky Attack is not enough, so we will be able to go for the second Charm, and now we're going to see the Skeletors come in, so I have to swap into Lanturn right away, but unfortunately for me, it's going to be the Shadow Dragonair, so a double Dragon backline. Now, we potentially have an opportunity here if the Thunderbolt can land, but we'll have to see what we can do because Dragon Breath just hurts way too much. Now, obviously, because I don't have energy on Alolan Ninetales, I have to start shielding my Lanturn in this situation. Whereas before against the Skeletors, in the first battle, I got it low enough that I could Charm down at the end. So now I'm just in a really tough position. They decide to throw the Body Slam. Surf right here. They still have a shield. This is about as bad as it gets. I decide to go for an undercharge, predicting that maybe they don't shield and then I can Spark down. But this Skeletor has a good amount of energy where they can easily knock me out, and that is going to be a good game. So unfortunately, Skeletor was able to dominate me on this one, making a comeback for the previous battle, as we will go ahead and just try our best. But yeah, we're going down right here, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Like I said, this team overall, I think pretty strong. I saw games like this where there was really not a lot of play I could have other than maybe going for hard switch had I known it was Double Dragon, right? Good battle. All right, moving to the next one. We got Gligar here on the lead. They decide to swap out into Charge Bug, so we're going to go ahead and do a bunch of Charm damage and then swap into Lickitung to try to catch that Charge move, hoping that they would throw. Now, obviously, they're going to throw here into Lickitung regardless because they want to do a lot of neutral damage, but Lickitung's in a great position where we can go for Body Slams. We don't necessarily have to be the first one to shield in this matchup. Now, the X-Scissors are going to be coming out pretty quick, especially with the Volt Switch damage, so we're going to go ahead and throw the Body Slam now. Charm Alolan Ninetales, really strong against this team so far, as we will see that we can't get the lick down in time, unfortunately, and so we're going to have to let this go, as X-Scissor is enough to knock us out. Had we been powered up, maybe we survive that. Maybe we actually get the knockout there. So we're going to come in with Lanturn instead and load up on energy, as we do see Annihilate is in the back. So I believe it was the Gligar lead, and now we have the Annihilate here. So we're sitting very good. We can do a lot of neutral damage here with Surf. We don't need to try to go for Thunderbolts, and especially if they try to catch the charge move, I want them to be catching the Surf, right? As we decide to no shield this charge move. If it's close combat, so be it, but it was just a Night Slash. I'm going to swap in a Ninetales to try to cheeky Charm down, and I do. And then now the Gligar in the back is going to be facing off against a 2-shield Alolan Ninetales with energy and a Lanturn in the back with energy. So we are just going to tap away here with Charm, which is why it is so strong and forever strong in Great League, to be completely honest. But it can be easily countered, right? Which is why I'm pairing the Ninetales with a Lanturn, so that if we face off against Skarmory, we have some play there. But they're going to go ahead and go for the Aerial Ace, which is fine by me. I have the Surf ready to go, and this will be able to knock out the Shadow Gligar, as it will do super effective damage. Good game, very well played. All right, moving to the next one. We have Ninetales on the lead versus Magcargo, and this was actually against Enhoff, so shout out to her. Good battle. Magcargo, not what I want to see. Let's be completely honest. This is a really bad situation for me. I'm very scared about the overheat, so I'm going to go ahead and give up a shield right here, and it was just a Rock Tomb. So that was a very bad shield on my end. Probably sealed the deal, considering how strong Enhoff is as a battler, because she really will not leave a lot of doors for opportunity open. So we are now in a very tough position. Cresselia can do a lot of great neutral damage. Thankfully, Cresselia is on the field, so maybe this was their Lanturn counter. It could potentially also be their soft Lanturn counter. So we're just going to go ahead and go for body slams right here, just to do as much chip damage as we can. And ultimately, Alolan Ninetales is going to have to take this game for us as we go ahead and go for another body slam. Cresselia, they're in a good position where they're going to let me get them low enough where this is probably the charms. I won't get as much energy as I really need, and a Moonblast there, not enough to knock out, but they will fast move down. And then we're going to come in with Ninetales and look to charm. Now, this is why this is such a bad situation for me, is if I'm going to sweep with a Lanturn, I really need the 2-2 or the 2-1 shield advantage. In the 1-2 right now, things are not looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and swap into Lanturn right away. Magcargo does swap out, and yeah, it's triple hard counter city. It's going to be the Giratina Origin in the back. So actually, it wasn't triple hard counter. Sorry. Cresselia had a better neutral matchup after the Rock Tomb, right? Because it was much safer for that to come in. And obviously, had I kept Lickitung alive, the Giratina Origin would not have loved to face off against it. So this is going to be a good game. I don't think there's really any win opportunity here, kind of looking at it. I decided not to surrender since, I don't know, it's N-off. I'm just going to try my best and then let her boom me, basically. Give her the opportunity to boom. I will go for the Weather Ball right here. She's going to flex on me real quick. This is it's going to be a nice little no-shield flex, but she's just going to incinerate me down and get the final little boom. So we're going to go ahead and let this go. And that is going to be a good game, very well played. Obviously, a Magcargo Giratina Origin core is very hard to face off against with a Ninetales Lanturn core. Alright, moving to the next one, we have Shadow Dragonair and a swap out into Cresselia, so we're going to go ahead and bring in the Lickitung. Obviously, we are now in hard counter city, and this is a great position for us to be in, as the Alolan Ninetales just does so well against the Dragonair. We don't know what Pokemon number 3 is, but typically what I've seen in the past with Dragonair leads is Bastiodon Anchors or Lanturn Anchors. So that's what I'm thinking in my head when I see this team. I'm kind of, all right, we're going to make adjustments and decisions based on a potential Lanturn Bastiodon in the backline, which means I need to make sure I have switch advantage and make sure that I have a good amount of shields as well. So this is kind of the tough decision because Future Sight could hit really hard, so I will decide to shield here. Even though I said I need shields, what I need more is switch advantage, right? Because Alolan Ninetales does not need shields against the Dragonair in order to win. So we're going to go ahead and go for Body Slam. They decide to let it go, which is fine by me. Sure enough, it was Bastiodon in the back, and maintaining switch alignment was obviously crucial for us in order to potentially win this game. Now, with Bastiodon on the field, it's going to be able to get a lot of energy here, and I don't want to give up switch advantage by swapping out into Lanturn. That would be bad. I would lose my alignment. So instead, I'm just going to do as much damage with Lick and Power Whip as I can. This counteracts the energy that they are gaining because now we got Bastiodon at 50% HP. Lanturn's going to come in. Stone Edge here, not going to do that much. If you guys see the damage that can be done, honestly, Stone Edge doesn't do a lot. So all that energy that they got ultimately just kept it basically even in terms of this game. We're going to go ahead and look to shield this next Stone Edge. I want to maintain the health here. We see the swap out into Dragonair, so now I'm going to bring in the Alolan Ninetales and just Charm down. Now, because I'm able to Charm down right here, what I'm hoping for is that the Dragonair actually gets me a bit lower. So I'm going to let them get at me a bit lower, and I'm actually, this is so counterintuitive, I'm going to let them knock me out because what I need is energy on Lanturn. So I'm going to Spark down because Bastiodon still has 2 shields, everyone. This is the only way I'm going to win. And if I also let Bastiodon sneak through a fast move, I will likely lose. So I got to be very on point here at the end. We're going to go ahead and just keep loading up on energy, throw the Surfs at hopefully the right time, 1 and 3, as that should be the correct timing. And now we just got to pray that we get to the Surf in time, and we do. So this is going to be a good game, very well played. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough energy right there at the end, and boom, we take them out. So good battle. All right, moving into the next one, we have Ninetales on the lead versus Lanturn. So we can actually do quite a bit of charm damage right here. I don't know what they have in the back. It could honestly be anything with a Lanturn lead. Some likely scenarios, maybe a Gligar back there, maybe an Annihilape. So I decide to shield. And the reason why I decided to shield is my hope was that if there is a fighter back there, I need to keep the Ninetales alive in order to better handle that. Now, my opponent decides to shield now. So this is a tell to me that they are weak, so I'm going to try to bait out the fighter. But instead, I bait out Mandibuzz. This is interesting. Obviously, Alolan Ninetales does very well against Mandibuzz. And Lickitung really doesn't. Body slams thankfully still do neutral damage, so this is all hope isn't lost. But I think what we have here is an opportunity to load up on energy with our own Lanturn. If it's something like a Whiscash in the back, so be it. But I think what we have here is a good chance and a good opportunity to let the Lickitung softly go down, lose this mid-game matchup, and then just come in and load up. And the reason why I'm also going to make this decision, because you might be saying, okay, well, why not come in with Charm Alolan Ninetales? You can, charm down, get some energy. The reason why is if my opponent knows I led with Alolan Ninetales, I am very likely to come back in to charm down. So the opponent will throw Aerial Ace as the charge move. And what you guys are going to see is I'm going to come in with Lanturn, banking on that fact that they will blind throw Aerial Ace instead of Dark Pulse. Let's see if it pays off. Here we go, charge move thrown right away. Didn't even see what Pokemon I had brought in, and sure enough, it was the Aerial Ace. So we were able to capitalize right there, and we were able to get some energy. Now, will that transition us into a win for this game? I do not know yet because I don't know what they have in the back. I'm starting to fear that maybe it's a Skarmory in the back, so I'm going to go ahead and load up, but I make a miscalculation by waiting too long to go for the charge move. This puts me in such a tough position because not only do I have to give up my final shield, but I have to give up the energy that I didn't want to throw at this point in time, as Thunderbolt will knock out final Pokemon. It's Wigglytuff. So this is definitely a tough position to be in. I'm going to bank the Thunderbolt right here and pray that the Ninetales can get to Weather Ball in time. But unfortunately, I was one fast move away. Wigglytuff right here is able to get to Disarming Voice. My Lanturn is a sitting Dolphin, and I will get charmed down. Good game. All right, moving to the next one. Shadow Feraligatr once again on the lead. Always fearsome, but something we can handle with this team is Charm just does so much damage. Now, in this situation, I decide to swap, and we both swap at the same time. I was anticipating a swap, or not a swap. I was anticipating swapping into my Lickitung to catch the Hydro Cannon, and we actually swapped at the same time. Now, they bring in a Shadow Steelix, which is actually pretty good for me because now this gives me a lot of potential information based on their team. If they have a Feraligatr lead and they have Earthquake, if they have a Feraligatr lead and a Steelix safe swap, there's a good chance that it's another Steel in the back. I could be wrong, but there is a good chance. Or it's a flyer, like a Skarmory, right? Because they wanted to bait out a fire, right? That's my thinking right here. We're going to go ahead and come in with the Ninetales, and we have a Weather Ball banked, which is perfect. This is going to be enough neutral damage to knock out the Shadow Steelix, and then we will see the Feraligatr come in, but it's not. It's a Bastiodon. So I was correct in terms of it's a double Steel backline based on the information that they safe swapped a Steelix, right? That's a big tell, okay? So now what we see is that they actually threw Crunch right here. And because they throw Crunch, this is the hardest hitting move left in the game, so I will go ahead and shield the second one. Thankfully, we don't get a debuff, and now we are facing off against Bastiodon, but we do have quite a bit of energy, even though we are in the 0-to-1 shield scenario. Surf here, gonna do a good amount of damage. They do decide to give up the final shield right there, which is fine. And honestly, we have health on Alolan Ninetales, which is still going to be able to do something for us as we go ahead and go for this next Surf. We might be able to catch a charge move on it. We'll have to see. We're going to go ahead and just load up on energy and pray that we can correctly time a sacrificial swap and that we can get hopefully 2 more surfs in. So now this is where things start getting a bit dicey. As we're going to look to, excuse me right there, we're going to look to go for this next surf. And then now we're going to go ahead and load up. I'm going to look to throw right here. Okay, so they weren't at the charge move. I did these battles yesterday, so thankfully we did have enough energy right there, but it wasn't, so I got to swap right away and charm down just in case they go for Stone Edge, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. And that was the final battle. Overall, this team was pretty strong. You guys saw some good wins against tough teams like Skeletors. You guys saw some tough losses, right, against the Macargo Giratina Origin team from Enoff. But overall, I had fun with it. I think the team grew on me. I got better with it the more I played it. So it's definitely one of those definitely one of those teams where you're going to see your win cons develop the more you play it, especially with a Charmer on your team. And then obviously Lickitung, had it been powered up a bit more, maybe we take out that charge bug in the mid game that we lost to, because we would have done a little bit more damage and then we would have survived that final X Scissor. But overall, pretty strong. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.